What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more punk rock, and indeed, we're back with the Avengers self-titled album, which, as I've come to understand, was released posthumously after they had broken up in their original configuration, though they have, I think, come together at certain times to play certain events in the years since then. But the original and famous run of the Avengers, in which they only sort of played in the Bay Area, even though they became known internationally, it was very short. And indeed, the next tune on the compilation, or compilation album, was written in 1977, October of 77, and it's called Car Crash. So once again, big shout out to Paulie for introducing me to these guys, despite their significance and fame, despite their short lifespan. It was not a band I had heard of, even though probably some of the bands that I'm very fond of, Dead Kennedys and Subhumans and so on, I have no doubt that they would have been conversant in the Avengers material. But yes, once again, shout out to Paulie. I mean, Car Crash, it's self-explanatory, and it is visual and sounds dangerous, destructive, maybe even lethal. Of course, I can conceive how this might be figurative, or it might function on multiple levels. A car crash indicative of, personal trajectory and disaster that is not quite so literal. But let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is the Avengers. The tune is Car Crash, originally written in 1977, though released on this album, which I think was first put out in '83. so great. Like I thought it was gonna come to a hard stop, and then it started accelerating, and it really fits with the theme, which I think is much more literal than I speculated at the end of my intro. But it does seem to be embedded in a larger narrative in which the narrator is saying, where did you go? And you should have listened to me. And, they called me on the phone to tell me that you lost your head. So it sounds like it was the outcome maybe of, the other person leaving angry, or at the very least, like there's an implied relationship, romantic or otherwise, between the narrator and the person who lost their head in a literal car crash. And again, the way the tune ends, it's like there's a bit of a meta, sonic reality. It's like a car going too fast, too fast, too fast, and then sort of all falling apart. So yeah, it feels like there's a conceptual articulation of the theme in the sonics. But yeah, as I said, it sounds like it's about a real car crash where someone lost their life, and maybe their head, like literally, or at the very least they smashed their head as the car crashed into another car, a wall. It sounds like it was indeed a fatal crash, and then the narrator is running through their head, like wondering why, wondering, what could have been different, and, where they went, and why they went. And you can read that like on a more short term, like, I didn't know you had left the house. I didn't know you had left at all. Where did you go? And you could also read it more like, you're not alive anymore. Like, where have you gone, in a sort of like metaphysical sense. But yeah, it feels like, there were, I forget exactly what the line was, but something to the effect of like, why didn't you listen to me? So it sounds like there was some tension or friction, or at the very least that the narrator had given advice or made a request of this person who didn't heed it and ended up dead. So yeah, it's a bit intense, it's a bit dark, and I love this kind of late 70s, old school, like raw sound. I mean, it's not unpolished, it's not like, they sound bad at their instruments. It's, I think of that line in, what is it, Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, where they're talking about punk. Oh, the thing about being a punk is, you don't need to be good. It's just about an image, essentially, is what he's saying. And it's, it's not like that. It's, they have good cohesion, and I enjoy the bass. It was really strumming away, and then the guitar a bit more like intense and wicked on top of it. But yeah, it's like they sound good together, but it has that, the recording has that kind of late 70s rawness. The composition or the sonics themselves had that sort of just rough and gritty rawness to it that a lot of late 70s and early 80s punk does. So yeah, another cool one. Looking forward to the rest of the album / compilation. Thank you again to Paulie. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.